Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Meet the Artists. I am Joan Turner with the Greater Haverhill Arts Association, and we have someone really cool with us today. Susan Spellman is going to join us and share some of her artwork with us and some of her history and how she got going and all this good stuff. So, Miss Susan, hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
So, my leading question is always, how did you get interested in that? And how did you know that you were interested in that? Now, I've
Well,
read some of your website, but so I know
yeah,
the answer to that, but you tell everyone where they need to know one.
yeah. Well, it started as being a child, so one of those people that just loved art right from the beginning, grammar school, and entering little art competitions in grammar school.
Did you?
And yeah, so I went to a Catholic grammar school, and we had Friday afternoons for art, and they had you know regional art shows. And so, it seemed like right off the bat, I was kind of interested in art. And my father was a doctor, and he spent a lot of time teaching me anatomy as a kid, which is kind of surprising. You wouldn't think a grammar
Yeah.
school kid would be interested in it, but I was interested in drawing horses when I was a kid, and he talked to me about the anatomy under the,
Under the
under the
skin.
skin. And I found it so fascinating that it would show up, in certain ways, and also the anatomy of the human body. So even when I was younger, drawing the body, I had an idea of what was going on.
Now, I know that you teach as well. So how important is it to know what's going on under the skin? Because I mean, where the muscles are create certain
Yeah.
planes of the face and so on and
Yes.
so forth.
Yeah.
So, so when I say to students, look underneath, they look at me and they go, huh,
Yeah.
so so how
Well,
important is it? How
yeah.
much time should they spend? What should we be doing here?
Well, I feel that it's important. I
It
think
is.
that it's important. It depends on what you're interested in. Now, for portrait artists, I think it's very important to know what's going on with the muscles and the bones, and this of the skull and all that. So when I did teach portrait painting at one point, and I would spend a lot of time on the anatomy of the nose, even the mouth, the structure of the eye and the orbit of the skull. So that I think is very important. And as an illustrator, it's very important because I draw from my imagination, and so to know how the body moves and how the bones move and muscles really was important. Yeah,
Okay, so you learned a lot of that from your father.
yeah,
Okay, how do you recommend that people learn that? Are they looking at books? Are they taking a course? How do people
yeah.
learn that good stuff?
Yeah, so there are kind of a few books out there that are really good. I could almost grab them in my studio, but they're books, anatomy for artists books.
Okay,
You don't have to get too technical into, medical illustration, but it's the anatomy for artists. Will talk to you about the muscles and the skeleton mostly, and that's really what it's good to
yeah.
know.
So anyone who's really serious about doing
Yeah,
portraits and so on and so forth
yeah,
should know that stuff. And when it
right.
comes to animals, the exact same thing. I have a student who
Exact same
loves to
thing.
draw horses, but keeps putting everything in the wrong place. And I'm like,
Yeah,
well, wait a minute, that's not the way that is. You're like, what do you
right.
mean? I ride a horse. I know this thing. I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Ah,
exactly right. Yes, exactly right. So I have a huge book, Anatomy of People and Animals, and I've gone to that for dogs and horses and cats, and
nice.
to
Mhm.
be able to draw them moving around, and
Yeah,
so
especially if you're drawing them from your imagination. And I wonder if people who do cartooning and caricatures
yes, yeah,
need to know that.
yeah,
Absolutely. Right.
right,
And I
right,
know you've done
right,
all of that good stuff.
yeah.
Did you have a mentor?
So I would have to say went to college, I toyed with being a nurse, even though, so medicine, biology, it probably obvious, but biology and art were my two favorite things. And but when I got to college, I did it all science, because I thought I was going to be a nurse. And not even halfway through the first semester, I talked to the professor up in the art department, went up there, and started taking a class with this guy, and he is still my friend to this day.
Oh, wonderful.
His name is John Lochtefeld, and he is an artist in Nantucket. And he was my professor for 4 years in Marymount College, and I would consider him my mentor. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
nice, nice, nice.
yeah.
So how did you learn art? Now you were in school for medical, and then did you take art
Yes,
as like a set
right. So I started as a biology major, but halfway through freshman year, I switched to art.
switch stuff?
I took, it was a studio class that was drawing and design that was for all freshmen. And I switched over to that. And then I realized I just wanted to be up in the art department all the time. Um,
That was
so
the
yeah,
giveaway.
yeah, yeah. All right. So I became an art major. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Very nice. Very
yeah,
nice. So,
yeah.
so what is the most fun for you in art? Is it the teaching? Is it the actual doing of the art? Is it some of both?
Yeah, I think I have to say it's both.
I am such a politician.
Well, it's just true. I mean, I just, I love plein air painting. I just love painting. Um,
You like it
illustration,
better than, do you like it better than drawing?
I I love drawing. I don't know. I think drawing is my first love, my very first love. That's what I did mostly in college. Um, and I didn't really pick up oil painting until I was out of college and working as an illustrator. And in illustration, I used mostly watercolor and colored pencil. So I didn't really get into oil until, I'd say maybe 10, 15 years out
Oh, wow.
of college. I was trying to make you know, in art, the question, if you're, how to make a living, if this is what you're doing for your
Yeah,
job. And so being an illustrator was much more secure and a steady,
steady
occupation,
income, sure.
steady
Yeah, you
income.
have to kind of have a roof over your head, you know?
Yes, right. Yeah, I used to say I have to buy my groceries,
I have to buy my groceries. I know, absolutely.
So yeah.
Everyone says that
So
it's
anyway,
really hard to
right,
make a living
right,
doing art.
right. And I didn't really teach until I'd say maybe 8 to 10 years ago. And
Oh,
I didn't study to be a teacher. So I wasn't sure how I would do, but I just fell in love with it because I really love to experience other people discovering,
yeah, you can
their,
kind of live vicariously through them,
yeah, yeah,
especially if you it's been a long time since you've been in school and you can kind of
yeah,
see them going
yeah,
through some of the same
yeah,
stuff you
yeah,
did and
yeah.
very
And I
cool.
really love teaching drawing. I mean, like I said, I love drawing and I find it very meditative. And I keep like a visual journal that I draw a drawing a day. And I just think that's really um, good for my, you know, self, but it's also, something that I like to
That
suggest.
you like to suggest.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that I have a question then about that
yeah,
because when I was a teenager, I would force myself to draw for a half hour a day, whether I felt like it or not. And the days that I really felt like doing it, things went really good. The pictures came out marvelous, blah, blah. But if it was something where I had my mind on something else, it wasn't that smooth and it wasn't that great.
right.
So now I think back and I say, how wise was that? What do you think? Do you think you still get benefit from it, even if you're just kind of saying, all right, I need to do this?
Yeah, I think so. And I think you just give yourself permission to do bad drawings once in a while. But the
Right.
reason why I say I think it's a good idea is because I found that sometimes when I really don't know what I'm going to do, things come out on the page um, that that are I think, oh, that really kind of worked out, and then I can use that knowledge in the like a
Yeah.
future drawing. It might be and by doing it every day, I have to pick things that, um, I wouldn't normally pick, maybe.
Yeah, just
And
everyday things that are around.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And so what it's done for me is it's given me permission to not be worried about messing up and doing a bad drawing.
Cool.
It's sort of a discipline to show up and see what happens. And I think sometimes you're like, well, yeah, that I wasn't into it. It's not very good. And other times you surprise yourself,
Yeah,
you know.
totally.
Uh,
Totally.
so I think that's why I would, that's what I do. That's what I say to myself, because there are days when you just, I don't want to do it. I just don't feel like it.
Yeah,
And
totally.
then, yeah. And then I'll just say, well, let me just sit down. And even if I do 10 minutes, a 10-minute little quickie thing, it just usually feels good.
Did you do speed drawings in college?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
everything.
I'm still emotionally scarred from that.
I know. And contour drawings
Yeah.
and all that. Yeah, not my favorite.
We used to have an instructor who would sit there. He was in a wheelchair, but he'd sit there with his big stopwatch, and the person would be going like this. He'd hit it, and they go like this. He barely had time to turn the news print. We were doing
Yeah,
news print.
yeah,
I
just
was
a
like,
quick gesture.
that's it. I'm still emotionally scarred from that. Oh my God, oh my God, So
Oh,
totally.
that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
did that in
yeah.
school and I gave people like 2 minutes and they were giving me a hard time. I said, go ahead, keep it up. I said, I'll go to 30 seconds. And they're, no, 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 we're good, we're good. Love it. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you. So where does most of your inspiration come from? Now, I know you're like I said, looking on your website, you do everything. You're into everything. So where does all this inspiration come from? You see something and it inspires you, other
Yeah, yeah.
artists.
So a lot of it comes from just being out in nature, and so I do plein air once a week when the weather is good, and
Right? You don't get out there in the snow?
no,
We're,
I
we're
don't.
supposed to have another snowstorm this
I
Friday.
know,
Yeah, I'll go
I
out there and
know,
paint the snowstorm.
I know. No, no, I get really cold really fast, and then
You
my
and me
hands are
both.
useless. So I know I have a good friend who does go out in the snow and has all the gear, but not me. No, I don't. So most of my still
Me
lifes
either.
are in the I like still lifes. I set them up, and so there's that. And you probably could and I've always loved dance. Ann Jones and I go way back with dance, and we used to dance together, and so she knows what I'm talking about.
Did she do belly dancing?
Oh, I can't answer that, but she
She
does
did.
flamingo.
She did. She
She
what?
did do belly? Yeah.
I think she danced with a dance troupe because she was talking about going dancing somewhere. And if you're listening, oh well. But she had said that she was going dancing in a place right near where I lived. And I said, maybe I'll show up and bring my camera and stuff. I said, what kind
Yeah.
of dancing is it? And belly dancing.
Oh, wow. She's done,
Re-
a lot.
Everything.
We did jazz dance together. We
Oh,
did
cool.
we were the Joppa Jazz dancers. So that's where we started. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
And then she's actually, she's sat, I've painted her in her outfits, her beautiful flamenco. Anyway, so
Yeah,
yeah, so I've always loved dance too. So
nice,
that's
nice.
something I like to do too.
Very cool. So all those things is fine. You are actually very well rounded. Like well, maybe not a lot, but some people are very focused on
Yes.
florals or portraiture. But you're
Yeah.
really very well rounded. You have everything there.
Well, I think that's a result too of being an illustrator, because when you start out as an illustrator, the more things you can do,
The
the
better.
more jobs you get.
That's
So
it.
that's sort of a background that I, was part of my background. So, and then I find that I like it. I mean, I don't want to eliminate anything because I love it
Yeah.
all.
And
Yeah.
you didn't know you liked it until you tried it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a favorite art piece that you've done? Because like I say, you've done so much. I'm wondering, does she have a favorite?
Not really. I've done portraits of my kids that I like. But not like one favorite, I have to
You
say.
don't have one that you're afraid. What I find with mostly students, they'll put a lot of time and effort into a particular drawing or painting, and then they don't want to sell it. They'll say, "Oh,
Oh,
so and
yeah,
so
yeah,
wanted to buy this," and I'm like, "No, I like
yeah,
this one. I'm keeping it." So I tell
yeah,
them,
yeah,
take a good photo, make yourself a print, and make the sale.
yeah,
You have
yeah.
a picture
Well, let
like
me see.
you.
There is one under, let's see if I'm looking on my website. Okay. So there is a dancer. Let's see, I wish I
Let
could
me see. Wait,
share it.
wait. Let me see.
If you go to fine art and go to dancers.
Okay, wait. Hold that thought. Let me see if I can get it up
Okay.
here. You share screen. You are screen sharing. Well, where is it?
Okay.
Ta-da! Okay,
There we go.
there we go.
Okay, so
So
go
I
to
want to go under fine art.
fine art and then go down to dancers. There is one there. So in the second row, the ballet dancer of that's sort of like this blue and black,
This one.
um, where her arms are folded over.
This is
Ballet
Ballet
swan.
Swan.
Yeah, that one I've had, and I don't think I want to sell that one.
Ah,
I kind of like that one.
oil on linen, 30 by
Yeah,
30.
yeah,
She's a big picture.
yeah. She's a big picture. Yeah.
So
So
is this someone
yeah,
that you saw, you watched? Is this or this out of your head?
yeah. No, well, it's from an image. It. So I did have a photograph of the swan, dance. Um,
This says oil
ballet.
on linen, but she looks like a
Yes.
watercolor, very
Well,
gentle.
it's very, I have another one right behind me, so I'm just gonna pull it up because it's the same size, so it's big. If you can see that,
Oh, very pretty.
yeah.
Is
So
this an oil as well?
it is, and
Ah,
it's thin oil so that I can rub out. So it sort of has a little watercolory kind of feel because
what do you
it's
mean you rub it
oil.
out? What? Say it again. You use
So
thin
yeah,
oil?
so if I do the drawing in
Uh-huh.
black oil paint, but I can take away like with a tissue,
Okay.
and I can pull out
Highlight.
highlights by rubbing it out.
Oh,
So
wow.
this is not white paint added. This is subtracting the black.
How
Yeah.
cool is that?
Yeah, so the other one was done the same way, was sort of with rags, and so adding and subtracting. So I'm really only using black paint, but you get all the tone from the different, thickness of the paint.
So did you prime the canvas first? You prime it first. Is there like gray or is there a base
Yeah,
color under there?
no, it's using, the white of the canvas so I can get the white. Yeah.
Yeah,
So a
that's
lot of
amazing.
the dancer paintings in the screen share that you have, the top in the top section is 3 that are black and white. This is one of them, So yeah, they're all kind of done similar. Even that's oil,
Ooh.
but they're kind of done with a little bit of a wipeout technique.
Wipeout technique. Let me see if I
Yeah,
can go back here. Oh, there we
yeah,
are. There we are.
yeah. These top ones are the ones just did recently. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. So yeah, so it's kind of fun that you can get back and forth, adding and erasing.
Yeah, so I would never have thought that with oils, but people do it with watercolors all the time. They put the paint
Yeah,
down, they pick it up, and absolutely.
yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. So,
These are awesome. So
thank you.
she's your
Most of them are
favorite.
large. Yeah, most of these are large paintings. Yeah.
So a painting that large, someone has to have a spot to put them.
Yeah. So this one you've got up
Oops,
here is done
sorry,
the
sorry.
same way where you can almost, where I've rubbed out the white. It's not white paint added, it's rubbed off.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And I even splatter a little like watercolor there just to get,
Watercolor?
no, I splatter sort of like you do when you do watercolor.
Watercolor. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, wait. This
Yeah.
is
No,
this
this,
is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous.
thank you. Thanks.
Yeah,
So
welcome.
fun to do. Yeah. So it's a little bit of drawing and painting and
Yeah,
together.
I think students would do themselves a big favor if they would learn how to draw first because you actually are drawing with your paintbrush.
Yes, yes, right. And this one I use a little tool, the yellow one, like a little scraper tool. You can kind of see the scraped out marks in the yellow dress.
Like over here and
Yes,
here.
right, right.
Nice.
Again, just to kind of play with the movement um, of her in her dress. Yeah.
There's not like a lot of fine little details in here, yet these are very detailed paintings. I'm like, how the heck is she doing that? That's awesome.
Right. There's my anatomy coming out, right?
I was gonna say anatomy really because these are action pictures.
Yeah,
So if you don't understand what's happening with the muscles and stuff, you're not gonna get these kind of results. Look at the muscles in the arms.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
is this a real person? Where is he? Can we meet him? Is he single?
So the woman on the left
Yeah.
is she my dance teacher at the dance place in Newburyport. She's a jazz dancer, teaches a certain technique. And she gave me some photographs of her when she was younger, as a younger dancer. And
Wow.
this was based on one of those. And what I did was just crop it the way, zoom in where I want to. And I think by leaving parts of the figure outside of the area, my feeling was again just the sense of the figure coming into view and moving through space. So it's not all contained statically in the box. They're kind of moving through
They certainly are.
space. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And all of this color and through here.
Yeah. Again,
Everything.
very thin
Yeah,
oil.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But really portrays movement. Like I expect them to move any second now.
Good. Good.
And I
That's my
love that this
hope.
guy she's the focal point of the picture. And
I
he's
think,
this, I mean, he has this good looking arm hair, but I mean, she's
yeah, he's a supporting actor, right?
yeah,
He's
yeah,
the
that's it.
support.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
This is our favorite. She is gorgeous. So now, this woman back here, did you paint her in first and then fuzz her out?
Possibly. I can't even, I think so. Again, to just not compete with the front.
Yeah, I love that
Um,
you've done that.
yeah. And this one I had fun, of course, with the movement in the dress.
Uh-huh.
Um, and this is more opaque. So this
It
is a little
is.
bit more opaque than some of those other ones. Opaque oil. Yeah.
Nice. So is there actually opaque oil and thin oil? Is it two different
Yes.
kinds of oil? Oh,
Well,
it
it,
is.
it depends on how much, yeah, medium you want to use. You can really thin oils and layer them in transparent
Okay,
layers.
so you're the one who's making them thin or thicker. You're
Yes,
controlling that.
I'm
Okay.
controlling that. Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at
This
her.
one, this was based on we went to see Alvin Ailey, and I love those dancers in that sense that they have a very, very free movement.
They sure do.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yeah. And their little swing couple.
Love it.
And this one sold, but a little tiny ballerina, you know, and yeah, that was fun to do.
Now it says 0" by 30. What the heck is
Oh,
it?
it should be 30" by 30. That's good. And that one is sold. I should probably take.
I'm like, wait,
price
what
off
is
of
it? All right. Oh, beautiful. Look at her.
Yeah.
She's
And
part
this,
of the air around her, I think.
yeah. And this was fun because some of those little flowers were actually stamps, and I would stamp them. I'd put them in oil paint and stamp them on the canvas.
That is awesome. I love the whole
fun.
idea of this. Very nice. Very
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you.
Ah, this one's more realistic, more
Yeah.
realism or concreteness. I don't know what you want to call
Yeah,
it.
that's what it is. And not as transparent, not as
Yeah.
loose, you know. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit more normal. And these I just, like I just said, I did these this fall, I think.
Nice, nice,
Summer,
nice,
fall.
nice. You see. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So I think we saw most of them. Yeah.
I was going to say, what else can we do? Like I said, I was looking at a lot of you. Now these are actually your watercolors down here.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Let's do some.
Yeah.
Let's show.
Yeah. So I taught watercolor a little bit. Yeah. And I like the immediacy of it, and the you know,
I
how
was
you
going to
play
say,
with.
you went from one medium to, you went from really, I think this is a hard medium. I think watercolors are difficult. Of course, once you've mastered them, I guess they're not difficult. But you went from a very watery watercolor, very fast working, to oils, or vice versa. They're
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
really, really different mediums.
Yes. Yeah. You have to think differently because
Yeah,
yeah. So the watercolor, again, leaving the whites to last, where an oil, you know, you make sure the whites are your
there. Yeah.
first thing. Yeah. You plan on that first, and in oil you add them like
You ever
last.
use any like masking fluid and stuff like that? It's not my favorite
Occasionally.
thing, but
Yeah, not mine either, but it just depends on you know, sometimes for some of my illustrations I might need to. Um but like in this case, I would just do it by hand. You can kind of tell the edges aren't sharp, you know.
yeah, no, they're good. They look
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Very nice.
This was in Florida, obviously. I think, because I don't think we have any of those birds up here in
I
the
don't
north.
think so. I was in Florida, saw those walking around. I'm like, what the heck is that? Because they don't just walk on the beach, they walk around the land too. I was at my girlfriend's house and I see one just kind of walking by. I'm like, wait,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
there's
The
a
heron's
bird out
right.
there.
Yeah, right.
Is this you?
No, this was a friend of mine, and we were out painting at the end of what's that road now? It goes up in Rowley out to the marshes,
Oh,
and
I
we
don't
go.
know.
What's it called? I'm losing the name of it, but anyway, it's a really nice little place in the marshes. So I was interested in her painting, and more than the scene itself. Right?
Yeah, yep. The
Yeah,
highlight is all around her. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Nice, nice.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's Monhegan, up in Monhegan, the lighthouse building. So these
And
are
now,
just,
I was just going to say, most people do the lighthouses. You
yeah,
did that.
yeah. And most of my watercolors are fairly small, 11 by, 14-ish size, because
Really?
I do them on site, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
like
easier to
the,
carry, smaller for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, right, right, yeah. And then that's obvious, that's Monhegan too, the bell up at the Lighthouse Hill there. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah, that was on vacation and it reminds me of vacation.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
That was very comfortable.
yeah. And that's
Nice.
also Monhegan. Yeah. No. Same
Oh,
with that little painter up there on the
I was just
rock.
gonna say there's someone up there.
Right. That's
Yeah,
right.
I saw it like second or third. I was kind of looking around. I'm like, oh wait, there's. First, I thought there were two people wrestling up there, and they said, "Oh
Oh
no,
yeah.
that's an easel. It's an easel up there."
Right. Right.
Love it. Black
Yeah.
duck.
Yeah. And that's also Monhegan. People have been to Monhegan. I mean, it's fun to go there because there's so many artists around and
Yeah.
it just the scenery there is wonderful. So
Wonderful.
yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, and
Very
that is
serene.
in Ipswich. Yeah.
That's an
And that,
Ipswich.
yeah, in Ipswich. And that you could probably tell that little mast was just scraped out,
Yeah. Yep.
afterward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. 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 Two little
Yep.
bikes.
Two little bikes. Very cool.
Right. More vacation. This is a new report. This is my journal again. Because sometimes I'm not drawing, I'm just painting. So that's why we have the date down there. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, just a little watercolor sitting there on the waterfront.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's Florida. Our vacation. Same as this. Yeah.
I love it.
I know. So these guys like to hang around with the fishermen because every once in a while they'll get a
You
free
get a
free
fish.
lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Free
Right,
lunch. Everyone
right,
likes a free lunch now and then.
right. So there we are again. And this was on the Cape. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
So do you have oh, you know what? Let's show, I would want to show some of your illustrations.
okay,
Is that
sure.
okay?
Yeah.
So tell us about
Okay.
these. Little
Yeah.
guy, big
Yeah.
mission. Oh, look
So
at,
yeah. So this book, Lucky, this is about a woman who is it's a true story. She's a vet, Afghanistan, um, was in an accident with an explosion, lost both legs, and she has a service dog, which is the golden retriever, and she adopted this little guy in the front, what Lucky, who had a malformed paw, and it turns out he's going to need an amputation. So she is training him to be a service dog, and I
oh,
think the fact that they both kind of shared like the amputation
yeah.
um, journey. It talks sort of about um, his mission. So even though he has this disability, his mission is to become a service dog. So it's a nice story.
That's a
And
nice story.
yeah, and so
I love their
Christy Gardner
faces.
is the woman down here.
Yeah.
She's a vet, and she's very inspirational, and she's now starting a whole up in Maine a school to train dogs to be service dogs.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a kind of a good book. This is Tippy. I'm working on the third book of Tippy.
Really?
Yeah. And so this is the second one of the Tippy series. Yeah. Yeah.
Cheeky and
And
Charlemagne
yeah.
and the
So
Great Sabotage.
yeah,
I
right.
love the
So
names.
these two little characters. So Cheeky is an otter and he's in the blue striped sweater, and Charlemagne is a pine marten, and they're best friends, and they have a lot of adventures. So it's like a middle age,
Middle age.
it's
So
black and white.
how do you come up with these characters? Does the author like give you an idea of what she's seeing in her head and you just,
Yes. Yeah, she does. Yeah. So Donna really described the clothing, up to the clothing that she had
nice.
an idea of what the clothing is. And in her book, she loves to describe the food they're eating. I enjoy reading it because, that she describes the jar of honey that's going in the certain herbal tea. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to illustrate these books. Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
get to know them. Oh,
Right,
Charlie.
right. And this one was a little more serious. This is
Yeah.
again like a age group. It's a true story of Charlie, who was an orphan from Boston streets in 1910, and he's a real character. And he was um, taken to the Home for Little Wanderers, and then he was adopted, not really adopted, he was taken in by a family in Maine as a laborer.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
and it's his story of how he made that transition from being an
wow.
orphan to being in a strange situation, being with a
That,
family.
these are amazing stories. So do you ever like decide not to do an illustration because you don't like the story or you don't like what it's trying to say? Are you picky about that or do you just
Well, I'm
try to
pickier
do the
now that I'm
illustration?
sort of semi-retired.
Yeah.
When I was working, I had an agent, which is called an
Ah,
artist rep.
okay. Yeah,
And so I basically did, I just did, I
whatever.
didn't have the luxury to say, well, I don't really
Choose.
like the story,
Well,
or
I was
to
just
choose.
curious. I was just curious.
I know, but now I do
Now
have
you
that.
can. Yeah,
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 yeah. And I'm lucky enough to have met these wonderful authors that I work with more
yeah, yeah, yeah.
now that I'm not working with art directors and agents.
Yeah, 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 totally.
Yeah, yeah,
Simon
yeah,
Sandy.
yeah,
Oscar the Herring Gull.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
Oscar. Yeah.
Oscar.
So he's yeah, a herring gull, obviously. It's just his life story.
Very cool.
Yeah. And
Stinky
this
Night
one,
Out. Ah, I
right.
just realized that they're skunks.
Yeah,
Pinky
two
and
baby
Bub's
skunks.
Stinky Night Out.
Yeah, they
Oh, by
escape.
Frankie? Frankie Spellman? Is
Yeah,
this someone in your family?
he's my brother. Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah. So he's a musician, songwriter. So he wrote this story, um and it rhymes. And I just love the story. So we ended up working on it together. And
Nice.
yeah,
This is
so
awesome.
yeah,
The
so that was
Stinky
fun.
Night Out. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, right, right. And that's it, another story about a unusual friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, a true story of this little hippo. Ozo, his real name was Owen, and me, I think Owen was the hippo, and Measy was the tortoise, and they got to be good friends. Yeah. So you learn a lot, being,
I was just gonna say, these are amazing stories behind them.
yeah, yeah. This is a story about a boy who magically rides a dolphin. Yeah. So,
Nice, nice.
and this,
Sachi.
yeah, this is a little girl from Grand Turk Island who where they have wild horses, and
Oh.
she wants to tame this horse. So
So then Sachi and what? Where's the other part?
oh, that's interesting that is dropped out. I wonder how that happened.
I'm like,
It's
what kind of title is that?
I know.
I'm
It's
so
Sachi and Little
unfinished.
Star. I don't know how that happened. I'll have to
Ah,
go back and fix that. Well, this is good for me to see what's up here.
I'm like, what kind of title is that? And I'm
Yeah,
wondering what the
yeah,
other name is.
yeah. So it's Little Star is the name of the horse,
Of
and
course.
somehow that got dropped out. I don't know how that happened, but
Gotta love technology.
yeah. This one is about a little autistic girl, another true story, um, who discovers a turtle on the Cape, and they get cold shocked, and it looks
Oh,
like they're dead,
oh,
but she knew the turtle wasn't. And um, rescued the turtle. And so it's a story of how they kind of rescued each other, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The Valley of the Dragon.
Dragons. Yeah.
Gotta have dragons. Yes.
Right. Another fantasy story. That was fun.
I like them.
Oh,
Mommy
this was
and
a
me.
coloring book. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did a couple of coloring books. And there's the other Cheeky and
Tiki
Charlemagne.
and Charlemagne again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Same duo. And this
This
is the
is a
Tippy book.
Tippy.
Yeah. And I'm working on the third book in that series.
Oh,
And Bella and Jingles, again by Donna Same, Marie Same. You can see a lot of books. And this is a friendship. She discovers this little girl whose family is in Alaska doing research, discovers this baby polar bear that's been abandoned. And
oh,
so they get to be really good friends. So that's what that
neat,
story is about.
neat.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. So that's it. That's
If I'm going too fast or so too
yeah, no,
slow.
no,
No, this is awesome. Okay,
that's good.
so
Yeah.
we also have samples. So I did some looking there too because these were
Yeah.
awesome as well. So these are
That's it.
samples like what's in the books, right?
What's in the book, right, right. Uh-huh.
So
So
these are graphite drawings.
yes, so these are pencil drawings, right?
Yeah,
Graphite drawings. Yeah, this is
very
a
cool.
character in one of the books. Yeah, and in this scene
I
is
recognize him.
yeah, that's from Cheeky and Charlemagne. Yeah,
So
and
these are just the idea boards, or are these what you
no, these
actually?
were actually in the
Oh,
inside. It
okay.
was a black and white interior and
Ah,
color cover, but because it was a lot of more pages, sometimes inside they're black and white.
gotcha.
Yeah, this one was from a fairy tale book, a compilation of fairy tales, and this is a Puss in Boots illustration. This goes back to I think 1995. I think
Wow.
book. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just the water that was a watercolor for the cover of Every Turtle Counts. Yeah.
Nice.
And this was for Highlights for Children magazine, and that's watercolor and just different things.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, yeah. And this was from Night Before Christmas book. Yeah. And this one is a folk tale that also takes place in Grand Turk, which is part of Turks and Caicos Islands. And it's a story about this little donkey who, it's a really sweet story. And all the kids get involved with it's a man and his donkey, and they deliver water to all these houses and places
Oh,
in the island. And then one day, Simon, no, Sandy, the donkey, arrives without his partner Simon, and all the kids are like, "Where is Simon? Where is Simon?" And they follow the donkey, and they find Simon, who has been hurt. And
oh,
so, yeah,
even the chicken, rooster,
yeah,
chicken.
right, right, right. Chicken and roosters.
I know what you. Oh,
And that's that little
cool.
boy riding the
Yeah.
donkey. Yeah. And this was all, colored pencil. And in these, I use a lot of different grades of pencil, from B's to H's.
Sure, sure. And what's your favorite pencil? Mine's a B6, and everyone
Yeah,
gets kind of like, "What do you mean
yeah,
B6?"
yeah.
Yeah,
That and ebony. Do you know the ebony pencil? Which is
I
it's like,
do.
yeah,
I
I love
do.
the
I
ebony
love
pencil.
them. Love
Yeah,
them. Do you use like
yeah.
blending stumps and
Like
stumps and
stuff.
all that?
Yeah, yeah. Right,
Very
right.
cool. Oh,
So, and
cool.
that was a book, about this cat who was
Look
in
at
the,
his eyes.
I know, yeah. So that was it was a cat that was on these ships. So yeah, it just was a one illustration for this book.
Is
But
this a watercolor
but
or oil?
that's an oil. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say that
And
cannot be a watercolor.
yeah, not too many illustrations I do in oil, but sometimes the Charlie book the cover was done in oil. Yeah, that one is oil.
That one's an oil.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one, just the look on his face. I'm like, what is he
yeah,
thinking, you know?
yeah. And that's watercolor. Yeah.
Oh,
And this
it's,
is, yeah, watercolor with a little gouache. So,
oh, okay.
yeah,
So exactly what's the difference between watercolor paint and gouache? Because to me, they're kind of the same, only one is thicker.
yeah. One is thick, more opaque. So part of the beauty of watercolor is the layers of transparency in the color and
Hmm.
the way the white of the paper shines through.
Yes,
So with gouache, you don't get that transparency
gotcha,
look.
gotcha.
Yeah, but you can layer on top, yeah, more thickly.
So it
Yeah,
reminds me of my childhood.
yeah, right. Yeah, and this was another fun story, so I did a lot of little stories for educational publishing.
Uh-huh,
And this was
nice.
a little girl who tried different meals. She was a tough eater. Right?
Yeah.
And this is another story. A little girl would bring things in bed with her until there was almost no room for
No room.
her left.
I know that one.
Yeah. And this is from Pinky and Bubs. So Pinky and Bubs live down below the fancy restaurant. And you see one of them poking their head out in the lower right. Yeah. And so that's the story is there's a little dog. If you look below the fancy restaurant sign, there's a little dog in a window.
Right
And
here.
then the story, the skunks get out and the dog gets involved and they all end up in the restaurant and pandemonium ensues. So that was a
That is
fun
so
story.
cool.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
there's some of the
that's stinky.
pandemonium that
Yeah.
ensued.
Is these her tonsils?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, wait, what's in her mouth? I'm like, oh my God, tonsils. You are too funny. I love it.
There's Sachi.
Sachi,
And
Sachi,
yeah, yeah. Sachi and her baby brother.
Sachi. Oh,
And
oh,
this was a story of two twins.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, are they twins? They look exact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There were
good.
two twins. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's just different, there's also just sort of sample of different things. Yeah, I would do. No, and I think we're back to
Yeah, we are.
me. Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
So hey, it's fun
I could
going
just
through it.
totally look at this all day long. Oh, we have a store.
Well, that's if some of these
Got my
books you can
books.
get on Amazon, and
Oh,
my daughter sort of set that up for me. It goes right to Amazon. I don't think
gotcha.
it. Yeah. So
So, yeah, so people
yeah,
can get them there. And you
yeah.
also teach adult and school visits.
Yeah. So since COVID, I haven't been teaching because they weren't doing any in classroom
Yeah,
teaching.
right,
And
right.
so I just stopped for a while. And because my style is sort of very interactive, and I
Sure.
just yeah. So I might get back to it, but that's what drawing and watercolor are the two things I really
Yeah,
like.
that's what I'm seeing. Drawing line and
Yeah,
tone, values and position, negative spaces. Opportunity to explore the medium of watercolors. Like I said, most people consider watercolors very hard or
art.
challenging to do.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's good to do that.
yeah.
So, my
Yeah.
darling,
Good.
if unless there's more that you would like to show us, how can people get a hold of you if they want to learn more or they want to buy something?
Yeah, so my email, is probably a good way. It's Sue Spellman at Comcast.net.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
And can they get a hold of you like through your website?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so say the
There
name,
should be
say
a
the title of
contact.
the, say
Yeah,
what?
I think there's contact.
Oh,
It
oh,
might
oh, on the
there's a
website.
way to contact me through
Okay.
my
So
website.
they
Yeah.
can get a hold of you on the website. They can get a hold of you through your email. Um, and so you teach classes, you sell your artwork. Do you still take commissions like for books and stuff?
Yep.
You just do it all, my darling.
Try. Try. Yeah,
Absolutely love looking at your stuff. This was
thank
awesome,
you.
awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Cool. Okay,
Okay.
hopefully I'll see you at our next GHAA event. I hope.
Okay. Yeah, I
All
hope
right, my
so.
darling.
All right. Okay. You
Thank
have
you
a nice,
again. Yes, you
okay.
too.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome. Bye-bye,
Okay.
sweetheart.